So yesterday we started cutting off our eave here. Our blade was really dull, so we had to stop and get a new blade. Anyway, we had a little bit of rain last night. So we covered the roof with this tarp here, and you know, just to be safe, of course. It obviously, you know, kept the water off of the tongue and groove. If you look here, you can see this is a good kind of example of how the bottom, you know, third of the roof was not covered. So we got a little bit of water, you know, on these sort of bottom of these boards. You can see here, you can see on the ends of this TNG, got some waviness going on here. If you have, you know, buckling like this happening inside the house, you know, that's where you start having issues. Out here, obviously, we're gonna straighten that out with our rim board, so not worried about it at all here. But just to give you an idea of kind of what can happen with water. We're gonna cut this off, and then we're gonna put our rim board on the bottom here and get working on this side of the roof. We'll get it framed and ready. So I'm gonna cut the rest of this off now with our new sharp blade. All right, we're gonna put our rim board on the bottom of our eave here, and we're gonna use, these are 2-inch screws, 1.5 to 2 inch, you know, is a good size. We're gonna put a screw in every single board up into our rim joist, or our rim board. So this is our material here. This is the 9.5 inch OSB rim board, 1.25 inch thick, and this is going to go around the rim of the whole roof. So we're going to start on the bottom here and get this put on, and yeah, we'll probably need like 2 or 2.5 pieces for this side, so definitely a 2-person job. We're going to lift it up on edge right here, like this. We want to keep this rim board flush with the edge here, the end, or just shy of the edge, about not even a 16th, just barely shy. And then underneath here, we also want to keep it up to where it's where this TNG is down past just a little bit. So I'm gonna hold it there. All right, so right there. Okay. All right. Just right in the middle of each board. So as we screw this on, any kind of warping or, you know, buckling in the ceiling boards just gets straightened out by this nice straight piece of wood here. And we'll just keep going with our pieces here. So we've got our rim board on the bottom, across the bottom, all screwed off. It took two full-size pieces and a small piece. There's 2 splices, one right there, one on that end. Once we're done, if we'll have some scrap pieces left over. We'll put a block on the inside of each of those splices and screw it together, so that to just kind of help hold the splices together there. But we're gonna go up the side here now with the same stuff, same exact thing, just right on top of this right here, just right up on the edge to the peak. We'll trim off all our purlin ends after the rim board is all put on. So yeah, we'll start right here. I've got some 3-inch screws here that I'll use to screw in the end to secure the corner here. It's gonna be a little bit of a tricky situation.
Probably have to slide it down first.
Yeah, just get up on top. There you go, I got it now. And slide it up. So first thing I'll do is put a couple of screws in the end right here. And you want to make sure that this is tight on the bottom. Sometimes this eave can sag down and have a gap underneath, so you just want to make sure, you know, that if that is the case, the top end can be picked up and to get it totally down against the TNG here. But this one's good, so we'll screw it off, staying just a little bit shy of the edge there. Okay, now we'll use our 2-inch screws. Now you gotta be careful when screwing this in here. it can like to sometimes break out. So you know, just kind of be careful of that. And I do like 2 in between, or 2 down here on the eave underneath. This roof's pretty steep, I can't walk on it. I'm gonna get a couple of these blocks of wood here and just attach it to the purlin on top of the roof so I can walk on it. That's good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the porch side here, we've already cut off our eave. We did the same thing we did on that side, except in this case, we went off of our roof line, which is just it's actually this flat log right here. This flat cut is our nice plane to pull off of to get our eave lines chalked on there. So we just looked at the plan as well for that. Got our eave length, which is 16 inches here. Yeah, it's about 16 inches right there, approximately. And then chalk the line, cut it off, and now the rim is going on in the porch is a 2x8 rim, just a 2x8 dimensional lumber. You know, don't need quite as a structural pieces like the roof and with eye joists and rim board, but so yeah, they're putting that on, and yeah, pretty straightforward there. We have got our rim on the bottom and one side here. We still need to finish the rim, but before we get too far on that, I'm going to actually mark out our layout for our rafters. This is our rafter material. These are the 14 footers for this long side. We've got, I think there's 3 different lengths that we have on this particular cabin, so we got to make sure to use the right stuff in the right spot. These are just eye joists, and these will lay right on top of this T&G and butt down into the rim board here. So we need to mark out our our layout for these so that our plywood ends up working out right. So we're going to mark on this rim board here, and then on the peak up here as well, 2 spots. If it's a really long span, you could do one in the middle as well, but this isn't that long. These are really straight, so we're just going to do bottom and top. So what we're going to do is come to our edge here, and I'm starting at the front of the cabin here, and we want our plywood to come out to the edge out here. So, and then we need to, from the outside edge, we need to have our eye joists at 2 foot on center from here. So what we're going to do is, these are 2 1/4 inches wide. So the center of that is 1 1/8. So if we hook on the end here like this, and we come in, this is the center. So this is where we want the center of that board, right? Because it's 24 inches from the outside of our rim to the center of our joist. But we want to make a mark on the edge. So we want to put our board, we want to mark on the edge so we can put the edge of our eye joist to that mark. So we're going to go 1 1/8 from there, which is 22 7/8. That's the edge of our board, and we'll put an X on the side that the board, or that the eye joist will sit. So again, we're going 22 7/8 off of our rim, outside rim, to the edge, and then our X is going to go on the other side. So 22 7/8 with the X on the right, if you're looking at it from here, just like that. So like that, and then we're also going to take a speed square like this. We're going to mark it and then make an X there as well, so we can reach all the way to the bottom here, like that. Once we have our first mark made there, we'll take a hammer and a nail. We'll put a nail right in here like this, just like that. And now our tape can hook right on that nail like that. Then we can go. Then we're gonna go 2 foot, 24 inches, 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way to the end. Okay, I've got my first mark there. Got my nail. I'm just gonna pull off of this. Go 24 inches. Make my X like that. Then I'll come back through and I'll mark these all down once I'm all the way across. Once I'm done here, I'm going to do the same thing on the top, just on the actual tongue and groove, and just make some marks, and that'll be where we'll set our rafters up top. Make sure our tape stays straight. It's set, it's hanging off the side, so just pulling it really tight so we're not getting bad measurements here. So I'm going through like this, making my marks, and then there's our marking. Just like that. Okay, so the bottom is done. Now I'm going to go to the top here and do the same thing. One more thing we're going to do before we start framing this roof. Well, 2 more things we're going to do. We're going to come back through. When we did our T&G, we just put 1 nail in each board here. 1 nail per board. We're going to come back and nail that all off with a nail gun. And just put 1 more nail in each board, on each purlin and on the peak. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to also, before we get our framing up, we're going to chalk a line in the eave for our vents. We're going to be putting in 3-inch vents in every single bay of this framing. So we're going to have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. So we're going to chalk that line and mark those out so that that's done before we start framing. So we'll do that as well, and then do that. We're going to nail these off, and I'm going to mark the top out. I'll do that right now here. So here I'm going to do the same thing I did down there. I'll hook off of the rim isn't up here yet, but I'm going to hook on the edge of the T&G. 22 7/8. Make my mark. And then X on the same side. Make sure it's on the same side as, so up here it's on the left, down there it's on the right, or whatever, depending on how you're looking at it. But and I'll put my nail in on that spot right there, like that. I'll just take it all the way down 2 foot, every 2 foot. All right, so I'm just nailing off the T&G. I've got the bottom nailed off. Just gonna come in here, and you just need 8-penny nails for these, 2.5-inch nails or whatever. But just making sure I got 2 nails in each board. Okay, before we put our rafters up, we're gonna mark out our vent locations. Basically, we're gonna put a 3-inch circular vent in the soffit here of the eave, every 2 foot in between each rafter. So basically, 1 here, every 2 foot. So we're 12 inches up here. Make the mark. We're going to chalk a line across here first, so I'll just do that. I'll put a screw in here, like that. All right, so we're going to pull our line. Okay. This is not extremely critical where this is, but I'm just going to go right in the center of my 2 joists, which is going to be 12 inches off of one of my lines, basically. So I'm just going to go like this, square up to my line, and I'll go 12 inches over, which is what the square is. So right here, make a line. It's right on the crack, but so then I'll basically go. That's in the middle here, roughly, of my 2 rafters, and so then I'll just do this again. Put a temporary screw there, and just pull off of this, and go 24 inches, and make a mark. Let's make a line, circle it. Now we can come back after the rafters are in place, and we can drill these out for our vents. That. There's a bay on the end right here. There's a joist right here. So, I could put a vent there, but I'm just not gonna worry about it, because 2 foot is like, from this vent. My last vent is out here somewhere, so that's fine. The last vent will be here, and then I'll do the same thing on the porch, bottom of the porch over the other side, as well as the dorm or eave as well down later on. So once we have it marked out though, now we can continue to do our framing, and it's just a pain to do that later because once the rafters are in place, it's hard to work in between them. So yeah, we're gonna start pulling these rafters up now and start getting them nailed down. So we'll start at the end over here, and gonna be using the nail gun with just 3 inch or 3 1/4 inch framing nails for this, and this should be pretty quick here. Really important to note here, you're going to want to make sure that you orient these so that there's usually writing on the sides here that usually goes down, but if you look, there's these knockouts right here. There's like little perforated circles that are up and down the board. Those are basically the electrical pathways that they can punch out to run wires. You want to make sure that those are on the bottom side of the board. If you put this on and there's like right here, this is actually slightly higher than this. Sometimes it could be more extreme. Have the guy up there pick up a little bit, up in the air, like that. That'll bring it down just like that, perfect. And then nail it in place right there. That'll bring our eave up nice and straight. So we're gonna make sure we're nice and on our line. Up a little bit, okay, right there. Come around, nail it there. I'll nail it here. Okay, perfect, you can drop it now. We'll just leave the top loose for now. Actually, I'm gonna go like this. Put it on the line and I'll nail. Line is right there, see that little line with an X on it? So,
middle, or that's
this, yeah, the edge, just like that, yep. So I'm gonna nail it on top of my other, you can see the nails here where that purlin is. You don't want to nail here, obviously, there's just ceiling boards here, so. You do 2 on one side, 1 on the other, and then we'll go back through and nail the tops off. But and also we can go right here on the roof line and nail it like that. So sure we have it the right way here. This way. There. All right, so we've got our porch framing done here. As you can see, we've got all of our 2x8s cut and installed, nailed in. So here we have our false overhangs here. We've got a couple of rafters that are going into both sides here, but so this is where we're gonna actually join these up. We have the rafter tails sticking up from the other side, coming up on top. And then down here we have our the joint between our 2x8 rafter and the BCI or the I joist here. So we're going to cut this in a way to basically line these up center with each other. And the easiest way to do it is to just use a chainsaw and basically cut around this the thing here. I'll just basically demonstrate and you'll see what I'm doing. So we'll put it up beside, cut that in a way to where it'll merge together real nice. that piece out, or yeah, and just like that, boom, there's our joint, and it comes down right to there, and we'll just get it centered up with the center of this. Do the same thing here, get it beside it. Careful not to cut through the roof here, through the ceiling. But there we go. And got the bottom secured. You can either nail that or put some screws in it, like I'm going to do here. We'll just attach the bottom for now. The bottom end of our joist with a few screws. You have to be really careful to attach this bottom lip here, because there's only a really small ledge here in our log to catch a nail or whatever, a nail or a screw. This could have been trimmed back maybe a little bit more to give this some room to come down and then land on top of our log there, but it's just right on the edge, so we're just gonna not screw or nail here, because otherwise it'll poke through the ceiling. We'll do that for now. Now we're gonna go to the top here. We're gonna cut our peaks together. Here we have our two rafter tails coming up. This side is already nailed in place. The bottom of this one is nailed down there. So we basically need to make a cut here down our peak to get these two to be able to, to join up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right to where they intersect on top, which this one's a little bit short here. The intersection point is right basically where these 2 points meet, if you can see that. It's not extremely critical exactly where this is, but we're just going to basically cut straight down, right? Just put the saw right in between these 2 points of the peak and just cut straight down and aim for the top of our log ridge peak down here, which is right here. Cut that straight down, and then we'll pull it together. Pretty straightforward. There we go. Move it over, and right there, it's perfect. We'll nail it. We'll just get it lined up here. Nail it, and that's our joint on the peak. Same thing here. Except I'm going to go over there and cut from that side. If I cut from this side, it would move my joist around. So right here. Oh, hit a nail. Perfect. So right there, that's our peak connection. We have one more rafter that's going to come in right here against the wall, but those are our two sides here. We'll get those nailed off, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side over here with our 2 joists on our overhang on the other side. So we're going to talk about electrical a little bit here. So your floor plan will come with kind of a generic electrical plan here. Usually the back page will have a main floor electrical plan. If there is a loft, we'll have a loft electrical plan. But basically, it's going to outline your these red or green or blue holes are basically your, well, down here on the legend it'll tell you what it is. Like this blue one here is a hole from main floor to porch roof. So it goes from the floor up to where our porch roof is right there. So that's what that blue hole is for. We have a green, and the green is basically a well, it says here, hole in log wall up from main floor to switch height. It only goes from the floor down here to our switches. There's switches on both sides of the door here. That hole goes all the way from the bottom up to the top of the switch, or to the switch. Doesn't go up through. So before we can get the roof covered or insulated, we're gonna have to run wires for all of our lights in the ceiling, lights and fans and whatever else we have. We need to run those and then get them to our switches. Now, of course, you know, this is something that you should not attempt on your own without an electrician. You know, most places will require an electrical permit and usually, you know, electrical inspection. So don't try to do electrical, you know, on your own without either, you know, working with an electrician or just hiring an electrician to do this for you. I'll go kind of over some things. You know, this is kind of maybe some tips and tricks that your electrician can use to then to get the roof wired. But it's pretty minimal in a cabin like this. We have basically here on our loft electrical plan, we have a couple lights here in the loft ceiling here. And of course, you can look down here. We can see what everything is. Here we have 6-inch can lights. Those are just going to be can lights, and obviously it can be whatever you want. And this is just a recommendation, more or less. Of course, you can add more lights if you wanted to, you know, and then modify the electrical, you know, the actual electrical plan, you know, to what you want. You add more or less lights. Now you do have to be very careful because we pre-cut all of our outlets and switches are all pre-cut in the wall. You know, as you can see, all of our outlets are cut in the log, and we drilled those down through our stem wall when we were doing the log set. But so you can't add or subtract switches. I mean, without, you know, if you wanted to add a switch here, you'd have to cut this wider. You know, or, you know, there's different options as well. You could potentially get a, you know, they might make double switches, or I'm not sure what all is available, but you know, there's just need to be careful. Keep in mind that there are a specific amount of switches. So there's 2 here, 2 there, and then there's 1 upstairs at the top of the ladder there. There's a switch for the upstairs lights. So there's really 4 switches. And then of course you can have, once you do your interior frame walls, there'll be a few frame walls here, and you can put, you know, as many switches as you want in those frame walls, of course. But so just some things to think about. I'm going to probably follow this plan for the most part. I might add a light or 2 in our overhang here outside in the porch. It shows 2 lights up here between the purlins. I'm probably going to add 4 lights, and we'll look at that here outside. Plan call is just showing a light up here and here, but I'll probably put a light in each, you know, 1 here and then 2 there, you know, so 4 lights here. And then also we've got a couple lights down the side of the porch here to you know, light up the outside here. So probably have 3 or 4 lights here, 4 lights here. And then for the inside, we're showing 2 lights for the loft, which is just up there, you know, in the ceiling. We'll probably do that as well. We'll just do 1 light in each of the upper bays there, for, you know, off of that switch there. And then we have inside the vaulted ceiling here in the living room area, we have a fan, a ceiling fan, which will go right in the ridge pole, so right there off of the roof there, or off the center of the roof ceiling. And then we got 2 pendant lights on either side here, 1 there and 1 here, which, you know, that's an option. You know, obviously you can kind of do whatever you want to do here. I mean, we can do a pendant light here and a pendant light over there, or just simply do your can lights or flush mount lights everywhere. That's a simple way to do it. You know, pendant lights can be nice, a nice sort of feature. So we'll probably do that. I'll probably do a pendant light here and a pendant light there, and then our ceiling fan, which will have a light also, and then our 2 up in the loft, and then several outside. So pretty minimal for actually what's in the roof itself. But we're going to get those holes drilled with our, I think it's a 3.5-inch, you know, hole saw. We'll need to cut the boxes in. You know, obviously your electrician should take care of this, and you shouldn't need to, you know, worry about any of this. But we'll drill it. We'll mark the locations out, drill it, and then we'll run our wires and get the rough wiring done in the actual roof, so we can get it insulated and spray foam, or, you know, insulated and covered. So we're hoping to get the insulation done tomorrow. If we get everything done today, which we should get to that point. But yeah, I'm gonna get started on the electrical. Okay, We've got a 3-inch hole saw here cutting out our vent holes, and Wayne is drilling them out. There we go. So let me see that, Wayne. This is just a 3-inch hole saw bit. He's got an extension on here. You don't need that obviously, but yep, use that to drill all our vents that we marked out, earlier. So that's how that works there. Pretty straightforward. Just drill these all out. It's a 3-inch hole saw, not 3 1/4, not 3 1/2, not 3 1/8, just 3-inch. And then we'll pop our 3-inch vents into those holes. The vents are like 2 7/8 or 3 inches shy, so they fit in there nice. Over here on this side, we've got our framing done here. This needs to be nailed down still, but we're gonna get this nailed down. But basically, we have also against the log here. We're making sure to put a joist against the wall. That there's no corresponding joist underneath here, but it just goes there as a place to catch, a catcher for our plywood. But anyway, so then what we're gonna do next now that this is done, now that our framing here is done, we can finish our dormer tongue and groove here. So before we had stopped right here on the gable. Now we're gonna basically run this all out. This is gonna go on top of our framing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put a shim or a piece of wood on top of this framing, right up here on where this roof intersects that roof. And we're gonna put our TNG right against that, and you'll see that. We'll obviously demonstrate it here, and we'll basically bring that out to the edge here, and then at that point we can actually get this roof, the eaves trimmed off, and the rim put on, and frame this upper roof. So yeah, so they're gonna get started on that, and that's the next step. Once that's done, then the framing is pretty much gonna be done, and we'll be ready for foam pretty quick here.